Sports fans, kings, queens, and everything in between. Welcome back to the Real Minnesota, Texas. Listen, however you're joining us tonight, we would appreciate it if you would continue to watch, share, subscribe, start a watch party, put the stream that you see on the screen at RDST Show or on YouTube at The Real Deal Sports Talk Show. My name is David J. Harris, and my co-hosts are with me, Mr. Brett B.T. Thompson.
Same dirt, different shirt.
Mr. LaBrent Sowells.
What's up?
And Mr. LaClent Sowells.
Cowboys.
We have a license to bring you guys a brand of sports banter that's all gas, no breaks, no fakes.
All in your face.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
After what I thought was a pretty successful show number 1, we come into show number 2 weeks later. Shout out to that break we had last week.
Yes.
And I'm a little conflicted. Thursday evening, this past Thursday evening was Christmas. It was Christmas in the Harris household because the NBA season started back, and a few things transpired that had me. I got a few mixed emotions. We'll talk about those mixed emotions. First, I want to talk about the Lakers. The Battle of LA continued on Thursday evening between the Lakers and the Clippers. And, the Lakers got a great win. They edged out the Clippers, who were missing some key pieces. But I'm not holding that against them. You got to go out there. You play who's in front of you. They took care of business. And then the Lakers, a little slow start against the Raptors and ended up losing that game. Go 1-1 on the weekend. But interested to hear you guys' thoughts on the Lakers and their showing these first 2 games in the ball.
You didn't have to bring up the Raptors.
Why not?
Because it's significant.
No,
It was all about the Battle of LA. And I don't want to be that guy that say, I told you so.
Well, if
King James did what he was supposed to do.
Now, if you are a guy on the fence with the Lakers winning it all, which I am, you needed to see that Toronto game. Because, like Dave said, Clippers was a little short-handed. And we're not talking about just anybody. We're talking about Lou Williams, who's a very important piece.
Chicken wing Lou.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet Lou with us.
See Lou. And so, you got to win. I'm not trying to until the fourth quarter, which I know matters. But when you see something like that happens and you sneak out a win, you want to see what happens next game, which is from a team you're better than, and you lose against that team. And so when we start talking about all these other teams that's lost against inferior opponents, make sure you remember the LA team that you guys say is going to win it all lost against an inferior opponent.
I posted in RDST about LeBron after that game that LeBron's at the point of his career where he doesn't care about stats.
Thank you.
He doesn't care about the flashy stuff. All he cares about is the dub. And that's why he was so intense in the fourth quarter on Kawhi Leonard, who he held to 1 point in the fourth quarter, by the way. And that 1 point was on a bogus foul when Kawhi lost the ball, then fell down, and the ref just blew the whistle out of reaction. I mean, it was a terrible call, but it really doesn't matter because LeBron knows when it's important to turn it on and when it's important just to kick back and let AD get all the stats.
And when BT says LeBron knows what's important, everybody in the West knows what's important because after what the Rockets did to Giannis and them, who's the favorite to come out the East, that just tells me one thing. The champion is coming out of the West, and it's all about whoever plays who in the West right now.
I think that's going a little far. I will say this. Everybody knows I'm not the biggest LeBron fan. But what he did at the end of the fourth quarter, I had to give him props on that. The last play, the Clippers trying to get a win. Kawhi has the ball. LeBron's on him. Tough. And then guess what? Kawhi kicks it out and passes to Paul George. And then LeBron goes from Kawhi Leonard and get right on Paul George.
Weren't you the one that said LeBron doesn't guard people?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just want to make sure I'm right.
Forget everything I just said.
Look, I'm I'm of the mind, again, the two LA teams, they're at the top of the West right now for a reason. There's a lot of talent. LeBron James, best player in the NBA. I won't dispute that. Not the GOAT. Best player in the NBA. But, guys, I can't overlook the fact, and we alluded to this earlier, the Clippers missing two pieces.
Yeah.
I still felt like the Lakers should have been a little more dominant than what they showed in that particular
100%
game.
agree.
They won the game. I'm giving them full credit for the game. I'm not saying that the Clippers lost it. The Lakers won that game. LeBron made an incredible play off a miss and a putback that basically, sort of sealed the game for them. But I'd be interested to see what a full rostered Clippers team would look like against the Lakers. And I'm not sure which team is the best. After what I saw, I'm not sure which team is the best.
Well, it's good. That's an upgrade because at first you said the Clippers were the best.
I said they were the top.
Yeah,
team.
but now you're.
They're still the best team on paper.
Oh, okay.
But let's see them play.
Weren't the Lakers missing Rondo?
They were.
Yeah, I mean.
And Avery Bradley.
And Avery Bradley.
But they're going to be missed the whole. They're going to be missed for the playoffs.
Rondo will be back. They're expecting Rondo to be back.
When?
Around the second round. You would expect the
Playoff
Lakers
time,
to win
yeah.
their first round.
Maybe.
Around the second round, Rondo should be back.
Especially if they play the Mavs.
But can
Well,
we,
then maybe Rondo.
hold
will
on.
be
But can we all agree that LeBron? You don't put LeBron.
And we know why. One of the
We
most
don't
dominant
know.
teams in NBA history. Listen,
2011.
we talking about the best team in the West. We can't negate the fact that the best team in the East also had a similar start to their playing in the bubble. I really liked the Raptors. I'm sorry, not the Raptors. I really liked the Celtics. I really liked them coming into this game against Milwaukee. I still have always felt Milwaukee is the better team, but I think Boston can give them fits. But guys, I'll be honest, they didn't really look the part to me in the first game. I know Kemba Walker had just came back. Believe he played less than 15 minutes, no more than 18 minutes. Just off the top of my head, I don't remember the exact, but I know 120. I know he was at that limit, and I think they're definitely going to need him, to carry a lot of the load on that team, especially somebody who's been in the league a little bit longer than a Tatum or a Brown. But those guys are they're veterans themselves too. But I don't think it's going to be something that Milwaukee has to worry about when it comes to Boston. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think, and you hit it right on the head. I think Boston is a very talented team that could give Milwaukee fits, and I think the only team that can give Milwaukee fits. But the thing about Boston is that I think they're the only team out of a lot of teams in the NBA who, for them to be great, their continuity has to be great versus their talent.
Sure.
Their continuity has to exceed their talent, if you understand what I mean, BT.
Now, I want to talk about the Bucks game. And I'm not going to talk about the Bucks game you expect me to talk about. I'm going to talk about the Bucks versus the Celtics game. And very interesting. And what stuck out is Giannis getting star treatment on foul calls. Now, let me tell you something. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that blames refs for losses and all that. I'm that guy that always says, man, it evens out at the end of the game. But Giannis was stuck on 5 fouls, and he was whistled for a possible flagrant foul or intentional foul or whatever. And they went to the tape, figured out it wasn't intentional, but he doesn't get the personal foul.
Right.
He still made the contact.
Right.
Most fouls aren't intentional in the NBA. Matter of fact, 90% of them aren't. People aren't trying to foul unless it's at the end of the game. Now, what I'm saying is now for them, the conspiracy theorist comes out in me and says, man, it sounds like they were trying to keep him in the game. And then 2 minutes later, he gets a charge call. They call him for the charge. Marcus Smart, not my favorite player. And when they went to the tape and they overturned it, I mean, he was outside the restricted area. You could debate on if he was there in time, but not overturn it. You know what? It's supposed to be clear evidence on that, and it makes it seem like they were looking to keep Giannis in the game.
That's the new NBA.
And that's crazy.
That's the
And
new
I mean,
NBA.
star treatment has always gone
Star
on.
treatment,
But that was a little blatant.
I think that could be the thing. That could be the Bucks' undoing, really, in any game. When Giannis comes off the floor, obviously they're going to look like a different team. He's one of the better players in the league. At minimum, it was a controversial call, BT. I'm with you 100%. Marcus Smart, Flower Mound's finest, the guy you don't like. I mean, he went ahead and just called out the league straight up. He got that nice little fine that followed the next day. But I'm with you 100%. As much as I thought that Milwaukee would dominate them a little bit better, that was the difference in the end of the game. I will say that. Coach Smart is Coach Smart. Brad Stevens is a great coach and is going to keep them in the game, 100%. But, again, that call probably makes the game a little bit different. I'll go out on a limb and say I still think the Bucks probably still find a way to win. But I'm with you. He got some star treatment in that particular game for sure. Yeah.
It makes you question if Luka is actually a star because he's not getting no treatment.
You know what? You're
Great
gonna open up.
segue.
You're gonna open up a can of worms. You're gonna open a can of worms, and I definitely want to talk about that one. But was there any other team before we get to Rockets and Mavs? Because I know that's coming. Was there any other team aside from the top team in the West, the top team in the East, the two teams in Texas that y'all know we're getting ready to get into, that had a great weekend or maybe surprised you? I'm going to throw one out there. The Spurs quietly went 2-0.
You took it from me.
Well, go ahead.
You took it down. Man, that's it. I was just going to say Popovich might not be done.
I don't know.
He kind of done.
They're being led really heavily right now by one of BT's favorite players, Mr. Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay.
Mr. Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay, trust me, it won't last. It will not last. Rudy Gay.
I don't think he's going to do enough for them to get back into the playoffs. But a win over the Grizzlies, that's an impressive win. The Grizzlies are already in the playoffs. They're trying to hold on to the 8th seed. They should have beat the Kings. The Kings, they've been decimated by injuries. They don't have, a lot of the firepower that the Spurs had, even with them not having LaMarcus Aldridge. But, there was another team that only played one game this weekend. Guys, why aren't we talking about the Thunder?
Thunder, yes.
Why aren't we talking about the Thunder?
Speaking of, I think they just went into overtime today.
Right.
It's the Nuggets.
Right.
They lost, but
Right.
again, man, like you say,
Yeah.
individual CP3 still got something left.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that was the biggest thing with CP3. Like, as a Rocket fan, you would think that I would trash CP3. No, he was injured. He's oft injured, and basically, and then last year when he came back from his injuries in the playoffs, he wasn't the same guy.
True.
It just wasn't it. But as far as this break for the restart, it was perfect for a guy like CP3. Gave him plenty of time to rest, mend up, and get all his bumps and bruises. A guy that falls down a lot and gets weird injuries. So this is a great time for him to shine, and I expect the Thunder to do well.
It's a great time for him to shine, and I think Utah was pretty exposed in that game as well.
Right.
And BT, I know you and I have been on the same page with thinking, we don't think it's going to come together for them in enough time, to have a deep run. I said all that to get back to what we alluded to, and we apologize for a few technical difficulties to start us. We got a little late start tonight, but we can't overlook this topic, and we're going to get it in at least these next 4 to 5 minutes. The Mavericks lost both games this past weekend.
Right.
The Rockets, a.k.a. Rocks,
The Thunder over us?
with an X. The Rockets won 2 games, one being against the Mavs and one being against the Bucks. And BT, I'm going to let you go. I just want to say this. All the Mavs faithful out there, I'm just as upset as probably next, if not more, especially in that game where we were better than the Rockets for 47 minutes. But I think it's a case of them being not ready more so than the case of them being not clutch. But I'll get back to it. I told BT I'm going to give him the floor. His team won. Go ahead, BT.
I'm going to start this segment off
Try.
with cheesing for 3 seconds.
That's right.
I hope that got you.
All right, man. Rockets beat the Mavs 153 to 149.
What a game.
In overtime.
Yeah.
Incredible game.
Yeah.
Started out like gangbusters out of the box. It started out like an AAU game. Not a lot of defense, a whole lot of threes from both teams. Harden came out pistols blazing like he hadn't been playing basketball in 4 months. And Harden came out, started out with 23 points in the first half. In the first quarter, excuse me.
Crazy.
And the Mavericks came out shooting as well. Let me tell you something. I'm a Rockets fan, and my hatred for the Mavericks probably began back in the late 90s, the early 2000s. Probably particularly like when Jason Terry used to light up used to have his best games against the Rockets. Him and JJ Barea used to always have their best games against the Rockets. And this year's been no different. Hardaway Jr. had his career high earlier this year against the Rockets.
He did.
And then Trey Burke comes out off the scrap heap.
Right.
And he just starts lighting up for threes in the first half, first 3 quarters actually.
Yeah. Right.
But here was the thing. It was almost like the Rockets were like an alligator or a crocodile, and they kind of baited you into shooting a bunch of threes, and they drag you out in that deep water, and then because the Rockets know the Mavs were shooting 53% in the first half. That's not going to last in the second half. You're not going to have the legs to do it. Mm-hmm. And then that's exactly what happened. The Rockets in the fourth quarter beat up, really clamped down on defense. They held the Mavericks to 20 points in the fourth quarter, and shooting went from 53 all the way down to 42% for the game for the Mavericks. The Mavericks shot 58 threes? Wow. I mean, I'm sorry. The Mavs shot 49 threes. And
y'all shot 48.
And we shot 48.
Yeah.
But that's what we do. That's what the Rockets do. We shoot threes. And then if you want to go with us, that's exactly what we want you to do. It's kind of like running with the old Suns. You know what I'm saying? We'll give you. I mean, we're gonna pack the paint a little bit with our small ball, cut off driving lanes, and then we're gonna entice you to shoot because we know that you can't go as you can't. You're not about that life. You're not built for the 45, 50.
But we are. The Mavs are, and they actually did.
Yeah, the number one offense. But y'all didn't become the number one offense in the NBA by shooting a gang of threes, that many threes. Y'all around 35, 38 land.
The 3-point ball has increased significantly for the Mavs as part of their offense, but not at the clip that the Rockets would shoot them. I'm actually not even mad about the threes, and I'm going to kind of wrap this up so we can continue to move through the show.
Wait a minute.
I have to.
I got a couple retorts.
I know, and you'll get the last word. I know that there are many, who are ready to put Carlisle on the cross for the way that he coached that game, and heck, even the Suns game last night as well. I just think that there's plenty of room for that, after these 2 particular games. The main thing that probably sticks with me the most, the Mavs have lost 18 games by less than 5 points. Yeah. Let's just throw out some sensible what ifs. Let's say they win half of those games. They beat the number 2 team in the West. They win a quarter of those games. They beat the number 3 team in the West. Like, they have the firepower that they have. This historic offense is putting them in position to score with teams, but you got to be able to stop somebody, and you got to be able to score when it matters most. And I think that's the difference between the Mavs, at least in that game. We didn't have a James Harden. I'm a James Harden fan. I always have been. He went to the worst team that I thought he could have ever gone to. I hate the Rockets. But I feel that way because, right before you guys got him, before he became a free agent, you guys, grabbed him, trade for him, and, that pipe dream is completely off the table for me. But I want to give y'all big props, and there's one guy I want to give big props to, and that's Robert Covington. Robert Covington made one of the most intelligent plays I've ever seen a basketball player play. Anybody that's ever played basketball, when you're lining up outside the paint for a free throw, you know if you try to go in the paint to get a rebound, you're going to get cut off by the bigger guys. Maxi Kleber was there. Porzingis is there on the other side. Covington takes the number one gamble in trying to get a rebound by running to the baseline, coming behind the backboard, hoping for a bounce. Harding gets 2 bounces on his free throw, and Covington is right there to tip it back in after P.J. Tucker holds his
Bunch
arm.
of
But they ain't call
Euros.
that. But that kind of play right there, man, that's an intelligent play. Shout out to Robert Covington. He's an HBCU product, went to Tennessee State. And
Yes, sir.
it's, not the only guy. He did not shoot well at all, made a really
One
critical
clutch
three,
though at the very end.
really late. Didn't
really
play
late.
well on offense at all. But want to give him props with that. BT, you wrap it up and we keep it moving.
But okay, you're right. Robert Covington. I want to give a couple props out to Daniel House.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of big threes.
Oh yeah, and he hit clutch threes.
Yeah.
And
Free throws.
he locked down Burke in
Yeah.
the fourth quarter. I mean, and made a great play at the end. Made a great play. Daniel House is going to be key for the Rockets. Here, my criticism of Mike D'Antoni is that for some reason, he wants to start Eric Gordon. Unfortunately, Eric Gordon is hurt and he can't start. Well, kind of fortunately, but Eric Gordon, it kind of jumbles up the Rockets' offense for some reason when he's in there with Harden and Russ. He needs to come off the bench, and that's when he's at his best. And Daniel House, because Daniel's longer, he gives us the Rockets have. You can say the Rockets are small, but we're very long. At every position, every player has long arms, including Harden and Russ. So the Rockets are now they're playing a defense style that mimics the '90s Seattle Supersonics, where they get their hands and they play the passing lanes. They slap their hands, they get hands on their balls. I mean, to the tune of double-digit steals a night. So it's going to be the Rockets are going to be an interesting team to watch for coming down the stretch in this playoffs. Right now they're at the 4th seed. It might have changed a little bit today, but I think the Rockets are going to be no lower than the 4th or 5th seed when playoffs start. So get ready, buckle up. Them Rocket boys are coming.
Rocket boys are coming. Whatever. Did you guys notice? Let's not even say we noticed. We know that it's happening. I want to give a shout out to the NBA again for just the impact that they had on the social awareness, that happened within the games. They've been very intentional about broadcasting every national anthem that with the protest included. It's right on the players. We know the players are going to do it. They're wearing the Black Lives Matters tee. Every team. It's been really good to see, guys. I mean, it's really refreshing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the leagues are doing that. NHL, they had a really impactful opening when they started their games this week as well. And I'm really proud to see what the NBA is doing with COVID and with the social injustice awareness that's going on right now.
Right. 2 points I'd like to point out of social justice in the NBA. 2 guys. Jonathan Isaac. Just about everybody in the league is now kneeling during the anthems. And Jonathan Isaac, young player for Orlando Magic, decided to stand and not wear a Black Lives Matter T-shirt and not to have not to have a slogan on the back of his jersey. Right. And he gave a message, and he basically said, racism is not the only evil in this country, and sins have no levels or severity on them. So therefore that he decides he supports Black Lives Matter. He supports the cause for equality and everything. He just decided not to participate. You know what? And that's fine.
It's his right.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I don't think necessarily he is. I mean, he's a young guy. He's 22 years old, and the way I'm really paraphrasing what he said because he kind of rambled on on his
Rationale.
his rationale, and it really didn't make sense. He kind of contradicted himself a
he's
couple of
23.
times. Yeah, it's because he's 22 years old. You're right, but I respect it. You don't have to kneel. It's the anthem. This is America. It's our First Amendment right. You're not bound to that, except for the players are bound to it.
Yeah,
but
they are contracted.
but shout out to Adam Silver, who says that he's not going to enforce the rule that for them to stand.
Yeah, because Black Lives Matter.
Because Black Lives Matter. Absolutely. Absolutely.
He still should have took a knee
He should have took a knee.
at the end of the day.
And we're going to talk about that. Him taking a knee.
I don't think
a little later.
I have no problem with him not taking a knee. Would I have took a knee? Yes. Do I think you guys would take a knee? Yes. But do I have an issue with him not taking a knee? Not necessarily. Because that defeats the whole point of Black Lives Matter, meaning that we have our own freedom and freedom of religion, freedom of speech. We have the right to make our own decisions. And you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, that's what it's about. Not at the end of the day, it's about supporting Black Lives Matter. At the end of the day, it's about being an African American who can be able to make their own choices.
Right.
Yeah, and the BLM movement is part of the 1-2 things, Dave, BT and Clint, that's been part of this country's big thing now and platforms. And the other platform, well, I hate to say it from a negative standpoint, has been COVID. You know, COVID-19 has really made a huge impact on the sports world, and I really feel that the NFL, it's time now for the NFL to see, okay, how are we going to do it, right? And if you guys, one of the things that we know for the NFL, one of the things they've done is they say, you know what, you have an opt-out option. You have an opt-out option. And so far, Dave, you told me this earlier because I thought it was less than this, but you told me as of right now, it stands at 43 players total have opted out of the NFL 2020 season. That leading the charge being the New England Patriots. Matt, New England Patriots lead the charge for players opting out, and the majority of that, if not all, I believe came on the defensive end with their number one heart and soul, Hightower, linebacker.
Right.
Big hit. Dave, are the Patriots able to recover from this?
You know, if it's any other team, I'll probably tell you no. But they got the hoodie. They got Bill Belichick. Dante Hightower and even Patrick Chung. I mean, these are two,
right,
highly notable players that are heading that defense up. And I can't help but think that Cam is sitting on the other side of the meeting rooms, knowing he's not going to have the defense that he probably, was hoping for, being able to lead this offense that's really kind of missing, a few pieces. Or let's just say there are at least some question marks, around them. We don't know how Cam is going to fit with this offense, but I got full faith in the New England coaching staff. If there's one coaching staff you're going to trust over any NFL staff, it's going to be theirs. But yeah, man, 43 total NFL players, 8 of them being from New England. There is actually a report that is out that they're trying to move the opt-out date up to Wednesday because the NFL, the belief is that, there are so many players that are kind of thinking a little bit more about, the whole controversy that's surrounding how the NFL is approaching this. And they're just
players have already spoken out about that.
I mean, they're ready to kind of get out of Dodge and get away from it. I'll be really interested to see how players respond to this. I know that there's already been a call out by McCourty.
McCourty, yeah.
He's gone on record. I mean, he's just like, this is trash, as we like to say, here between the guys on this show. But I don't know, man. It's getting very interesting for the NFL.
It is. I mean, like I say, the Patriots have lost Hightower and Chung, but people don't remember. People remember that before all this happened, they already had lost Van Noy.
Right.
And individuals like Collins, they were already going from the Patriots, so they're pretty much depleted. I mean, they got this box.
They still
safety.
got Gilmore.
They got. What do you got? That's what I'm saying. Their secondary is still on point. I mean, they drafted second round. They're one of their first picks, second round. They drafted Duggar, who's a box safety type situation. So he's going to come out and be really good. But still, BT, I really feel like even with Belichick and Cam, it's just a lot to overcome. A really, really good position for a lot of people in the AFC East.
And this stems back to the how poorly the NFL handled this whole situation, and it goes back to I think there's so many players opting out is because the NFL just kind of they skated on this whole topic until they tried to ride it out, think that the COVID-19 was just gonna disappear.
That's what
you know,
happened.
and then they didn't have a good plan in place like the NBA. You know, I'm not saying that you should have an entire bubble for the NFL, but you should have individual bubbles for each team, like the New Orleans Saints. They kind of everybody in a hotel. You know, put them all in a hotel. You know, shuttle them back and forth, keep them there. You know, let them see their family maybe once, twice a week. You know, have them come in protected areas, have them tested, things like that. If the NFL would have stood up, took charge, laid out a plan, they could have done that. You know, they wouldn't have so many people opting out, because that's half the opt-outs, I think, is because that people feel uncomfortable about going and playing.
Well, I will say this now. I mean, I read some of the opt-out reasons, and obviously you only can believe what you read.
Right.
Now, some people are having newborns that are being born. Some people having other family members having issues and things like that. So there are legitimate reasons why people are opting out. But again, I'm with you. NFL really have done a bad job in the timing of what they was able to come up with, and I really feel if you really want a really good story to that, you just look at the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? 5 rookies. Now, here's the thing about the 5 rookies, Clint. One of the rookies actually went through that protocol, the new NFL protocol, training camp protocol, right, to get into the facility where you have to test. They test you 3 times, right, before you are actually in there. And he tested negative all 3 times. And then on the 4th time that he got his not the random test, but the next testing, he tested positive. Right. So with that being said, Clint, I really feel that I feel like there's going to be a lot of negative testings come throughout the entire season, throughout the whole entire season. I think the main thing is to prevent outbreak. And I think that's what they're going to be trying to do.
Yeah, and I was talking to Dave off the air about when we're going to talk about it soon, but what's happening in the MLB could possibly affect the NFL and what's happening with the NFL and the outbreaks. So, I mean, as much as it's happening, I feel like, you know, when you hear stories about 3-4 people on a team, I think that's a big difference from having 12 and 14 on the team. I think it can still be minimized. I think that can still put a handle on top of it. But again, you know, it doesn't hit big, and unfortunately, this is the NFL. It doesn't hit big till you start talking about the Cowboys have 5 players.
Now that's when it hits the fan.
The Cowboys. This is the first time I heard about the Buffalo Bills.
Now, you know, we discussed this amongst, you know, ourselves in one of our chat group leagues. You know, guys, the blueprint for this to work has been put out. With the NBA, it's much harder for an NFL team to do it with the size of the roster and the personnel that travel with them in the front office. Yeah. I mean, that would be very difficult. But you see the New Orleans Saints, they take the approach where they're going to find a hub. They're going to find a hotel to basically house the team. And, you know, truthfully,
Jerry can build one.
You could find, I mean, he's already got one in Frisco. I mean,
that's true.
Let's just be honest. I mean, you could find maybe some regions of the country to maybe house your division, or maybe house the AFC on one side of the country, house the NFC on one side of the country, adjust the schedule to where, you know, you're only playing AFC, NFC teams. That would have been something that would have had been, you know, talked about months ago. But again, it just goes to show that the NFL was gambling on the curve on COVID to be much lower than what it is right now, and they're having to deal with it in the worst way. And to your point, Clint, the MLB is just kind of going about it, you know, the way they normally would have. They did adjust their schedule some, but the traveling is starting to impact them. And hopefully the NFL figures out something. If they're just going to do it the way they normally are, I mean, I don't think we're going to see an NFL season come to an end.
I agree, but I'm tired of COVID talk. Okay.
All right.
I mean, especially when it comes down to the NFL.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna talk about it next show either, fellas. We'll let you know right now.
Just
No
bring it,
COVID talk, because right now there's a lot of NFL moves that have been made, and one move in particular I want to talk about, and I want to bring this straight up to BT, because there's a new dog in the AFC South. From what I'm hearing, the new favorites belong to the Indianapolis Colts because of the quarterback. They were able to bring in 7 wins with a dink and dunk quarterback Brissett, and now you bring in a chunky Phillip Rivers.
Wait. Hold on. Did you say that they moved down a step? The Texans moved down?
Yeah.
You mean to number 3, right?
But Tennessee.
There you go. Going down. Now BT talk. Go.
Come on, man. What's going on with this, man?
Okay.
Where's that 3 second? Where's that 3 second spot?
All right,
Who is it? Okay, let me phrase the question because I don't want you to just go off and just start talking and giving history lessons.
Okay.
All right. Who is the better team right now in the AFC South between the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans?
Houston Texans.
Why?
Okay. All right. I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm gonna talk about the Texans for a second.
You know you're live, right?
Yeah, I know I'm live. Okay.
They know you from Houston, right?
Yeah, I'm from Houston.
Credentials are like at stake right here.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna say this. Yes, I'm a Houston homer, and but I'm realistic, and I say that to say this: the Houston Texans. This team is not only the Houston Texans. The 2020 team is the most talented Houston Texan team in franchise history. It's probably the top 5 most talented team in the NFL.
On defense.
From top to bottom.
On defense.
From offense to defense.
Oh, I didn't
to
think you was
special
going to actually
teams.
say that.
Now I'm gonna say I'm not. They're not. The Texans aren't as talented as the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll say that. And I'll probably say I think they're more talented than New England with the recent departures and everything like that in the AFC.
You saying that with a straight face?
I think they're more talented. I think they're more talented than the Tennessee Titans, and also the Indianapolis Colts as well. But the Texans have a bunch of small question marks. We've acquired pretty much a new wide receiver core. Brandon Cooks.
That's a big question mark.
Brandon Cooks.
Not small.
Yeah, you're right. Randall Cobb, and of course Will Fuller was always on the team, but he's very oft injured. These guys are the little question marks.
Little question mark.
All right, and that's surrounded by a big question mark, which is Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien is the biggest question mark on the squad. Talent from top to bottom, not many teams can run with the Texans. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But Bill O'Brien, he has not proven that he can handle that talent and maximize their.
So how can you literally sit? How can he literally sit here and say that he has the 4th best team? Did he say the league or in the AFC?
In the league.
In the league, but
No
your
NFC
biggest
team.
question mark is your head coach.
Yes. I mean,
That doesn't make sense.
I've listened to you guys say the same thing about the Cowboys and Jason Garrett for 5 or 6 years.
We've never said that about Jason Garrett. We've never said that about Jason Garrett.
All right.
He was a couple of times.
All right. Now,
We
think-
did call him Red Jesus.
Yeah, y'all call the guy Red Jesus.
Red J.
Oh my goodness. All right, now,
We got to wrap it up.
but okay, all right, no, we got right there yet. Okay, but like what I'm saying is this: the Texans. Now, the reason why the Texans have reasons to be optimistic is that Bill O'Brien has made a lot of changes. Okay, his biggest thing was that he's wearing too many hats. He's the GM. He was the offensive coordinator. He's the play caller. He's the head coach. He has to know when to throw the challenge flag. Know when to call timeouts, things like that. Well, okay, he kind of cleared his plate a little bit. He's letting his offensive coordinator that he's had. He's going to let him start calling plays, and we have a new defensive.
You got you
coordinator.
ready. I was about to say you got ready defense coordinator.
And
So,
yeah, Romeo Cornell is no longer calling
So it
plays.
sounds like you have a chance to be the 4th best team.
Okay, no. Well, you're right. There's a lot of ifs because our offensive and defensive coordinator have never called a play in the NFL. So that's going to be a huge question mark. But now Bill O'Brien isn't going to do things. Hopefully, this will keep him from making mistakes like calling a fake punt on your own 31-yard line against the Chiefs in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Basically,
He's still hurt.
You
He's
see what I'm
still
saying?
hurt.
That came from a deep place.
Right, man. That probably turned the entire momentum of that playoff game. And it's Chiefs running off 51 points in a row, or whatever it was.
Say what you want about Bill, but he makes adjustments, right? And a lot of adjustments. And I'm sorry to temper what you got going on, but I need Dave to take us out for a sec. But yeah, man, just know that Bill O'Brien, he makes adjustments. Say something good about him for once. I'm good.
That's the only thing good he does. His adjustments are, Deshaun, it's halftime. We're losing. Go save
Do
us.
your thing.
Go win
Do
us
your
the game,
thing.
Deshaun. That's his adjustments.
Let it be known that only Brett BT Thompson believes the Houston Texans are a top 5 team
Make
in
it plain.
the NFL.
Make it plain.
Look, as we get ready to go to break, I want to expand that number from top 5 to top 100. And Clint, you feeling pretty happy about this NFL top 100. And we're going to get into it right after the break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back with RDST.
Back to David.
Welcome back to the Real Deal Sports Talk Show, live from Bobbisox Lounge.
Check his
right
camera
here in DeSoto, Texas.
on and off.
Listen, make sure you are following the show page at RDST Show. That's actually the handle for all of our social media, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, whether it be IG, Twitter. We're all there at RDST Show. Also,
I just created Snapchat, baby.
I'm so proud of you for engaging.
I was told that I should.
You did a Snapchat.
Snapchat.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm a little too old for that, man.
I'm so proud of you. No. Listen, we're also on YouTube. Shout out to the new 100 plus subscribers we've received in the last week or two. On YouTube, we're the Real Deal Sports Talk Show. You guys make sure you check us out. Shout out to our new subscribers.
Shout out.
Tell somebody about us. We appreciate it. Listen, Clint, I know you're really passionate about this next topic because I think we have some qualms with the rankings in the most recent NFL player top 100.
Yeah, man. The NFL network, they've been coming out with the top 100 players. This is probably the 10th season, I believe.
Right.
And on this past Wednesday, they just finished with their top 10. And so I go, guys, and I look at this list.
Throw down Clint.
And I can't even get to number 2. I can't even get, because number 1 for those of you if you're under a rock in Sports Nation, Lamar Jackson tops the board. And BT, was he even on the list last year?
It wasn't on the list last year. It was not on, did not make the top 100 last year. From not making it to 1. That's like saying never having a girlfriend to having Beyonce as your first girlfriend.
So it
But
was
I lost
running
Clinton
at the
David.
bottom here was a person.
Yes, exactly.
So I mean, listen, Lamar Jackson, I take nothing away from him. The boy is special, but is he the best player in the NFL? I think that title belongs to Patrick Mahomes. And
Check out the NFL. This was ranked by the players.
By players, that's significant.
And they know. Guess what? A lot of those players played against both of those quarterbacks.
Right.
And I guarantee you, the thing about a football player, they'll let you know, I'd rather play him before I play him. So they'll tell you right here, that goes to show you that Mahomes had a lot of help probably, and Lamar Jackson was that mama there goes that man in football terms, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Mahomes last year go for a little over 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson only got a little over 3,000 yards for 36 total touchdowns. So I get it. Offensively, but this is what got me, guys. This is what, because I was having this seesaw between those two during the season. But after the playoffs, I said Mahomes is for sure the better quarterback. Because when the Ravens played Tennessee, Tennessee did a great job shutting down him and not allowing him to run and forced him to pass. And guess what? They lost. But here's the thing about it. Tennessee did the exact same thing to Patrick Mahomes. They said, you know what, Mahomes, we're not going to let you just run crazy. We need side passes. We're going to keep you right in the pocket. But guess what? Mahomes can throw in the pocket. And that's what allowed them to go to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, that alone, I'm not saying Lamar can't get there. But as of right now, Mahomes is the best player still, according to LaClent Sowells.
Yeah, I think the only reason why Mahomes didn't put up ridiculous numbers is because he was injured during the season. And we know it. You know, when the Texans went in there and beat them in week like 4 or whatever, we understood that he was hobbling out there. And me, if you guys know me, if you know what I say, you don't get a lot of props from me as a quarterback till you win a playoff game. You know, and that's why I hold guys like Matthew Stafford, you know, who's got a cajillion yards, but has never won a playoff game, in a different category than guys like Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Dak Prescott does that one. You know, and your boy Lamar Jackson, he hasn't won one yet. You know what I mean? So man, this might be.
Mark
He didn't play the lotto. But like, yeah, and Lamar Jackson, and I think that the 100, and I think guys in the NFL, I think they get starstruck. You know, when Lamar Jackson out there doing those spin moves and all that. Not to say he's not great at what he does, but I just think he hasn't earned it yet. You know what I'm saying? So until he starts getting there, that's why I can't put him in the top 5 quarterbacks. You know, if you're not a top 5 quarterback, how are you gonna be number 1?
Who's not a top 5 quarterback?
Lamar Jackson. No, I'm sorry.
I think it's something to be said about Lamar basically going from,
it's something
I don't want to
else.
say from worst to first. I don't think he was the worst NFL quarterback last year. But guys, Brent, I want you 100%. The entire league, well, we're assuming anyway, it's a player list. They vote this guy as the number one player. There must be, and
We're seeing it obviously on screen, but there must be a threat, you know, in this guy when they're playing him or having to game plan for him that is just really different from any player that they've, you know, seen the last 2 years. I don't think you can have a player who's a rookie who people acknowledge, okay, he's got something there. You know, they almost made the playoffs last year just as well, and to catapult this guy to number 1. But if I'm Pat Mahomes, man, I mean, that's a slap in the face, dude. You just got done winning the Super Bowl. You're a Super Bowl MVP. We've talked about the Texans win in the playoffs. You know, their win over the Texans anyway. I'm really wondering what kind of response Pat Mahomes is going to have to this, because on Twitter,
Made a response, yeah.
after it was pretty much made known that Lamar Jackson was number 1, all he did was a little notepad with a pencil. You know, the little Jordan memes with the cigar come out, you know, about him taking something personal, and maybe Mahomes is about to go on this revenge tour.
right, it's 3 people I don't want to be on your list if you're a quarterback and I'm the defense. I don't want to be on your list if you Peyton Manning. I don't want to be on your list if you Tom Brady, and I don't want to be on your list if you Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
Woo, you know,
Thank you, Clint, because I sure thought you were going somewhere. I did not want you to go.
Did it start with a T?
It started with a T.
And it ended with a Mo?
Yeah, it ended in a Mo.
it's okay, because Tony Romo was around 9. 8 or 9. All right, but BT, listen, I want to point out a couple other things on this list. And you know, Tom Brady, a couple of notables. Tom Brady at number 14, too high, too low. What y'all think?
I think because of his career, I think the players are going to have, you know, that reverence for him. 14 for me, for my own list, probably too high, but I would probably rank him in the top 25. You know, he would be in the top 4th of this particular list for myself. What about you, Bree?
He way too high. Tom Brady, did you see what he did last year?
Didn't look good.
Now again,
Didn't look good.
I have to put it in perspective because I don't think, and this is, and I think Clint, this gives clarity to Lamar Jackson and to you, BT. Again, this is players not really taking into account of what they actually did the year before, but just the totality on just the individual skill. Like you say, my main argument with the Jordan versus Kobe is what?
Skill for skill.
Skill for skill, pound for pound. And I'm sorry, you know, Patrick Mahomes got a lot of weapons. You know, he got Cheetah over there. I guarantee you give Cheetah to Lamar Jackson and is shut it down. You know what I mean? So that's how they rank it. And right now, I mean, and I agree with you. Some reference is there to the reason why Tom Brady is there. But, you know, as long as he's higher than Deshaun Jackson, I'm fine with that.
All right.
I mean, Deshaun Watson.
So, I'm glad you said that. One reason why Tom Brady is too high. Because he's over Deshaun Watson's ranking of number 20. The most ridiculous ranking on here.
I would agree.
Hold on.
Are
you saying Watson is too low?
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
I agree with BT.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
I can name 10 people that he can kick out of there so he can get to number 10.
Yes,
How is Travis
Aaron
Kelsey?
Rodgers.
How is Travis
No,
Kelsey and George Kittle's ahead of Deshaun
No, forget
Watson?
that. Let's talk about quarterbacks because you're talking
Okay.
about quarterbacks.
Okay.
I take
All
Aaron
right,
Rodgers.
you got
Aaron Rodgers
Lamar. You got Lamar Jackson,
Yeah.
obviously. Russell Wilson,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes,
Okay.
Those are given.
Drew Brees.
No.
I think that one could be up
No.
for debate.
See, this is where the list goes wrong. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
They're right. Deshaun definitely should be above those two guys.
But I think it has
I-
more to
I
do.
disagree.
I think it's got more to do with their career. Again, this is a
I said that.
It's
That's
a
what I said.
player
It's a
list.
play- that's what I
the
said too.
players are
I
going to
agree.
respect the guys
I
who have
agree.
been in there. And BT, is Deshaun more talented? Sure, I give you that 100%. But what has he done in his career to this point where the players are going to recognize you should be up there?
They
You look at
respect
Lamar,
Brees.
Yeah.
look at Pat Mahomes. What have they done in their career to get them to that point?
So it's either one or the other.
Because if
Either-
it was based off of last year, Dak would be much higher.
I don't know about that. But
I mean,
okay.
what you mean?
All right,
Numbers wise, I'm just saying. It's not all about numbers. It's about, again, reverence. and things like
Right, you're
Let's not
right.
bring this back.
Okay, which one is it going to be? Is it? Are you having a good year this
throwing
year,
that
or is it
bait
your
out there.
career?
Let
Yeah,
me tell you.
which one? You got to pick a side of the fence. You know what I'm saying? So if this is a what do you call those lifetime achievement awards? Yeah, you could give it to Tom Brady and Breeze all day.
Right.
Or is it last year? And then now I see why Lamar Jackson is number 1.
Exactly.
He had a great year. You're right.
He did.
All right. But at the end of the day, what did it lead to? You see what I'm saying? So
That's not what this list is about, though.
that's not what it's about.
About what you, yeah.
What is the list about? That's what I'm
I
asking.
told you my you know, the way I feel is pound for pound, skill for skill. You know, how good was you?
Then that's definitely not Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Because Lamar Jackson is definitely, he's exciting and what he does is, and what he does is great, and it could possibly lead you to a Super Bowl, but it hasn't yet. It hasn't bear fruit yet. But like Deshaun Watson, he hasn't bear fruit yet, but he's leading his team to division championships and he's leading them through the playoffs. So basically, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other.
Right.
So before we leave this topic, though, I got a question for you, Dave.
Okay.
Derrick Henry, 10, too high, too low.
Why is this man on this list at number 10? Okay, Derrick Henry, you the biggest guy at your position. You got the most, yards after contact. I'll give you all that. You got all the yak
I like
yards
it.
and all of that. But number 10 overall, the number 2 running back in the NFL, get out of here.
Way over Zeke.
Over Zeke.
Holla at
How do you
Zeke.
feel about that?
That's your best option. Your best option. Go ahead.
Zeke, a few other notables, ranked 24. I think that's a little low, maybe because I'm a Cowboys homer, but hey.
Yes.
Do you think this is too low?
But here's what's interesting before we move on, BT. And Prescott is at 46. But Clowney, who is he still on a team? Is he still hired yet?
He's unemployed.
He's unemployed, but up to 41.
Wow.
I thought that was very interesting.
That's respect.
That's respect.
I think that's respect.
The best run stopper in the NFL.
He is. Besides
But
Donald.
next to Donald.
Yeah, Donald.
You know, and so like BT said, it's a half and half. And so that means if you got Dak at 46, that goes to show you how much respect the players got for him.
Sure.
Where was Matthew Stafford? Do you know where he is? Like
Yeah,
this-
I know where he is.
Where?
Not on the list.
Oh,
Not on this list.
man. See, now that's very interesting because this is a guy that puts up stupid numbers every year, but doesn't advance in the playoffs and doesn't make the list. Now, that's why this is such a volatile list. A lot of guys, I think, it's combined with a lot of, a little bit of, what's happening. What have you done for me lately? To kind of like, reverence for those lifetime achievement awards. And I think guys balance it differently, and so that's the reason why the list comes out awkward as the way it is. It's awkward.
Yeah, and so that's always a good way, BT, I love the top 100. It's very debatable. But what's not debatable, BT, is what the MLB is going through right now with a lot of these players.
You're right, man. MLB has been back. Welcome back, MLB. I know you got kind
Now you about to say goodbye.
Yeah. You're right. Because it got kind of buried by the NBA, but MLB is back, but it's been marred with the coronavirus positive testing. I'm not gonna harp a lot on it, but like the Miami Marlins, had 18 guys.
Decimated.
18 guys test positive, and rumors. I ain't the one to gossip, but they said that they had a night. A lot of the guys had night out in Atlanta, and they came back. They brought some of us home with them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So basically, they've been quarantined off. Their games have been postponed since last Sunday.
Right.
So they haven't played in over a week, and the St. Louis Cardinals are going through the same thing.
And guess where they were?
Yeah, where were they?
They went to a casino.
Is that right? People aren't taking it seriously.
Right.
They're really not.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And that's basically, and that's really killing the momentum of baseball.
Right.
And it's really threatening the whole season. Commissioner Manfred is not playing.
Right.
He says he'll shut it down if people keep testing positive.
Right.
So this postponement has affected like a total of 5 or 6 teams so far already because they can't play against them, and they're gonna end up having to do a bunch of doubleheaders. Those 7-inning doubleheaders. Those they didn't come out of nowhere. Those are that's minor league style. When minor leagues have doubleheaders, they go 7 innings instead of playing 9, and basically that's the main storyline. The Dodgers and the Astros were also a main storyline.
A sign of things to come.
A sign of things to come, which is probably it opened the door and it was slammed shut.
Yeah.
Joe Kelly,
Yeah.
a guy that wasn't on the Dodgers in 2017 when the Houston Astros won the World Championships, decided to take it upon himself to throw at the Houston Astros in retaliation for the sign stealing scandal. He threw at Alex Bregman and at Carlos Correa, 2 of our top players, at their heads, which is Bush League.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
trash.
Yeah, that's Bush League.
Terrible.
The guy that was, if you don't know baseball's unwritten rules, you do something wrong, you're gonna pay for it by getting hit. Old Texas Ranger Kevin Brown was the master of it.
I don't remember him.
If you did something, you showboated on him, or you talk trash, he's gonna hit you right between your numbers in your back. That's baseball justice.
Right.
Throwing at guys' heads, that's messing with guys' livelihoods. You can end up giving them permanent damage or even killing guys.
Yeah.
In the old days, guys got killed by hit by pitches. So Joe Kelly, Bush League, Punk, and guess what? The Astros are still the 2017 World Champions.
With the National.
Unless it's a Texas Ranger pitcher that's throwing at you, he don't know how to target nothing.
Well, I'm gonna let you move on, BT. But shout out to the MLB creating hashtag the Astros rules with the new electronic sign stealing rules
That's
that
us.
have been implemented and agreed on. So shout out to the Astros.
Astro rule.
In your cheap
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, and you know what? It's not going to be a lot of that thrown at the Astros anymore. Joe Kelly was suspended for 8 games.
Yeah.
Manfred, now
He's got a lot
of
of he got a lot of support
He
from
did.
other teams.
Yeah.
But
He did.
That's a pretty hefty.
Right,
that's a pretty
right.
hefty,
Because like, think about this: if this was like a 160 game
Yeah.
a season, like it normally is, that's like a 25 game
Right.
Suspension, yeah.
Right.
You know, and that's a lot of money, and dudes aren't willing to mess with money that they're only getting half of anyway right now. So
Right.
I expect the Astros to be pretty clean on getting hit by pitches for the rest of the season until they win the World Series.
Cool. Well, BT, we got a lot of Astros fans in RDST, and I don't know if that's a topic that's still gaining a lot of steam or not. But what's going on in the group
What's
today?
trending
What you notice?
in RDST?
Yes.
Man, RDST, you already
Speak
got
to us, RDST.
is our Facebook forum that we have that we actually do a lot of interaction that's really spawned this talk show.
Yeah.
And basically, man, we're gonna talk about Jonathan Isaac. There was a post by I'm sorry. I'm gonna come back to that one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna come back to that one. I'm gonna go to Aerial Powers.
Ariel Powers is a member in RDST.
No, Aerial Powers is not.
Oh, you talking about
the actual player it was about? Okay.
She about to be a member now.
All right, somebody shout out to Ariel Powers.
Shout out to Aerial Powers and it ended up because we got to put respect on her name.
Right.
All right. I'm sorry about that.
It's all good.
Okay. I had a little difficulty. Maurice Thrower, member of RDST. Shout out to Maurice Thrower.
What up, Mo?
Maurice, he posted about a tweet from Andre Iguodala.
Okay.
Aerial Powers of the WNBA, Washington Mystics scored a career high of 27 points in their win. Andre Iguodala saw the game and attempted to praise her by sending a tweet complimenting her game, saying that. But she got angry because Iguodala didn't recognize her by her name, only by her jersey number. You know, was he being a little extra? Was she being a little extra with her response? What are your thoughts? And the tweet was Andre Iguodala tweeted out, "Number 23 from the Mystics is nice," and then Aerial Powers she responded by saying, "Put some respect on my name, or keep the tweet to yourself."
Wow.
You in the WNBA.
All right, Brett, they gonna come for you.
Come on.
Better be careful.
Look.
Better be careful.
I really feel you saw the respect that the NBA had for the WNBA by wearing their shirts, the logos, throughout the practices and things like that. I don't know if you guys saw that. They was wearing the WNBA. Like, I honestly, as long as Iguodala's been in the league, I think he knows who all of them are. But you have to put it out there in a certain way because you can say something, nobody just go blind everybody because they don't recognize the name. Right, so you say 23, so everybody now, okay, the 23, number 23, okay, come on now,
Yeah,
get off the gas.
I think, man. I hate the "in this climate," phrase that's always used. I don't know how many times we're watching an NBA game. Antonius Cleveland had a great game in the tune-up games, in the bubble for the Mavs, and nobody knew who he was. We call him by his number. Like, I think this is something common, that's done. Male, female, an animal, whatever. You call them by your number if you don't know their name off top. I've been reading, Andre Iguodala's memoir over the summer. This guy is he's highly intelligent, very reverent.
I respect him.
I don't think this is somebody that is, trying to be disrespectful, to a player or he didn't take enough time to go figure out who it was.
Exactly.
I don't think that's where he was coming from with this one. It feels like it's a little out of bounds, with her tweet.
She's next in WNBA.
So I'm glad that this is the perfect segue to 2-minute warning with the ladies. And I'm here to tell you that this is going to be an unbelievable 2-minute segment with Robin Harris. Robin, are you here with us?
Hey, I'm here.
Man, it is so good to see you here. So let's continue this conversation. So there's another person named Keisha Broke. And I actually thought she was a WNBA player. Turned out she wasn't. She's a regular person. And she says, well, first of all, let me back up a little bit. So it's this lady in the NBA. Her name is Sabrina Ionescu, and she scores in her second game. She's actually supposed to be a big-time WNBA player. She came out in her first game. She scored like 12 points. You know, that's kind of okay in the WNBA, but her expectations was superseded over that. And then she came back in game number 2 as a part of the New York Liberty team and scored 33 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. I don't know about you, but we could use her as a third option on the Mavs team. But be honest with you. But listen, she came in and she killed it. And Steph Curry, one of the best NBA players in the league, put some respect on him and said, "Sheesh." And the backlash behind it was, I felt like, was a little bit. No, I ain't gonna lie. It was a lot much. So Robin, what do you take from that? Keisha Brooks said, "Say her name. She's not a sheesh. The respect is unreal."
Come on, they're in their feelings. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
Let's put it into perspective. So, right, this is the 2 minutes, and I'll give you what I have, obviously, from the female perspective, and even somebody who was a student athlete. So I'm aware of what that space looks like. And in this instance, you know what? I can agree with you. I feel like it could have been misconstrued a little bit. I don't think that Steph Curry was someone who was trying to disrespect, especially for everything he stands, even as a girl dad, and what he's trying to promote within the space as well. I feel like put a little extra on it this time, and she's just a term that we've seen him use so often, and she's just like, sheesh, she's the girl's on fire. And if we do want to really pick this apart and really talk about say her name, let's do it justice by talking about the Breonna Taylors of the world. Let's talk about the Sandra Blands of the world, where we are still seeking some version of justice. And we want to talk about say her name. Let's do the context to what really the conversation is about, and equality and justice, which is our movement. We'd be remiss if we don't talk about this rights movement. Because a second ago, Mike said, that's just the WNBA. Brent, I know we have kids watching, so I'll keep it classy and cool, but that's part of the reason why somebody like Keisha probably pushed something out there, like, because there's been a lack of respect in the women's forum and the discussion overall, whether it's athletics, whether it's the profession, whether it's anything. And so in this instance, I think it was a little bit taken out of context, but personally, I think it was just a huge shout out to what Sabrina did on the court. 33 points, as you said, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, second game in her WNBA career. You have nothing but props and respect just to push out like that. And so I'll even say it, sheesh. But definitely don't think it was something that was meant to mar what she was doing. I also want to say, I know you all have been talking about some of your forms of in the RDA, even on this today. I want to give a shout out to Debbie Ellis. I know there was a plea for Stafford who wanted Debbie Ellis on the show. Please, we welcome that. Comment in any of the platforms that you see on the show, RDST, YouTube, or Facebook, any of the platforms that you see. Comment and let us know what you think. What kind of women positions within the athletic space that we need to talk? Who wants to come share for 2 minutes? Let us know. Debbie, we're waiting on you. David's calling you out. Clint's calling you out. Robert Stafford's calling you out. Yes. So, I'll leave it there for the week, but Clint, those are my thoughts, and be honest with you.
Robin, thank you so much. You never disappoint with the longest 2 minutes.
Not too much.
But listen, guys, before we wrap up, I could kind of understand if the girl name wasn't on here. Even on the picture, her name is
right.
Right. What if he would have said, "Wow, crazy, great game"? You think this outlash would happen? Still no
Probably, because the way they've been doing lately, they would have found a way.
Right. I think,
It's an overreaction to so much
big trauma that our women have gone through in this country over the years. So maybe, maybe it is a little bit sensitive and a little bit of an overcorrection on their part. But it is what it is. I think Steph came from a good place, and you're talking to somebody who really doesn't like Steph Curry at all.
Yeah,
So
but,
I think he meant it with all respect, and hopefully we can move past this because there have been several incidents like this, between the NBA players and WNBA.
Yeah, where's the respect for the NBA player? I mean, come on, you put some respect on Steph Curry now. He the one shouting you out.
I don't think the NBA
You know when you got a shot.
respect for the players
Hit that.
in this regard. But shout out to the WNBA. Listen, there've been some great players who come out of the league, some great players that are in the league now.
It's on
They
auto.
may be feeling a little bit pressures of the situation that they're in their particular bubble, which has been documented by them as not so great. Maybe some of that is kind of weighing into this too, but I think that's a debate for another day. Listen, everyone out there that joined with us this week, we appreciate you guys rolling with the Real Deal Sports Talk Show and RDST Show on Facebook and the Real Deal Sports Talk Show on YouTube. We will be back next week with another show, better than ever, bringing you that brand of sports that is all gas, no brakes, no fakes.
All in your face.
See y'all next week, 6
Yep.
p.m. Central Standard Time.
Fist pump, Cowboy fans. Really? What bestie?